Hey everyone, it's Harry the Soul Coach, and I'm going to continue doing the research today. It's very exciting at the moment. We are at the very highest levels now of corruption, and we're now getting shown things that took place a number of years ago. However, we need to see what took place back then with the experience and knowledge and information that we've consumed over the last few years. Without all of this, we wouldn't understand any of what we're about to be shown. As I mentioned, it's the highest levels of corruption. It's the people in the most highest positions that have information on the majority of the world's population. FBI directors, CIA directors, people within the NSA. They had people everywhere within politics. And when you start going back to start seeing the people that went after Trump, and we've seen this year alone, they've been going after Trump on everything. It's the same names were all involved, and it's the same names that have unlawfully provided information, given over top secret classified information, allowing Hillary Clinton to take this top secret stuff and have access to it on her server. It's these people that have been covering up the worst of the worst crimes, evil crimes for years and years. And it's the same names. So we've been held back from these names for a while, and they have been harvesting. They've been waiting for us. Now the harvest is ready, and we're seeing it in the news now. Going back to 2016, they spied on Trump. The Obama administration spied on Trump. We've also then got to find out what really went on with all the different investigations on Trump. So 2016, he was going up against Hillary. Hillary Clinton never thought she would lose, and she was going to continue Obama's 8 year infiltration to the point where we were going to be going to war. They were going to take the economy and ruin it. There would have been different viruses and all sorts of destruction so they could completely take over of everything. Like, it would have been horrendous because these people were going ahead with this plan. The military have always been there every step of the way, and they stepped in at the right time that shocked this whole dark, evil deep state system. The system we're starting to see now, it's a lot bigger than individuals. It's a lot bigger, a lot bigger than celebrities. It's families. It's mafia. It's through the generations. It's in the areas that we were growing up, developments, how they're built. And then as they upgrade and as technology and as we connect more, there'll be concierges within a block of apartments. And that one person will be the spy and the intelligence for the dark system. They can communicate with everyone around the world, and they have tabs on all the people that I would call was victims. They were working together as an outfit, trying to screw people up, distract them, deceive them, blackmail them, get them done for certain things, and they hold them in fear. They hold them as prisoner. These people are still in the war. They're just not wearing a uniform, but they're still going. So the same names now: James Comey, James Clapper, John Brennan, John McCain, Andrew McCabe. You're going to see these names time and time again. And James Comey was the FBI director, and John Brennan was the CIA director. CIA is foreign intelligence, FBI is America. And with the FBI as the DOJ, so all these people in these high positions in those two companies, a lot of them were infiltrated. They were corrupt. So as soon as Trump come in, he sacked all of them. And you can see that that's when things were taking place. We just wasn't told it. And a lot of people in the truth movement wouldn't tell you things like that. So he sacked all the FBI and John Brennan from the CIA, got rid of all of them. Before that election, though, the Robert Steele dossier was put forward, and there was strong suggestions Trump was being bribed and going to meetings in Russia, and he was having prostitutes, and none of it was approved, none of it was checked into, but it still got signed off that warranted a investigation. That dossier got handed to John McCain, who was in Senate, and then he felt like it was his duty to put that forward to James Comey. James Comey then got the Robert Mueller to do the investigation onto it. So all these names, and then it come back very quickly that they didn't have anything. So Mueller gets fired. all of a sudden they're now panicking because the way that they would always work would be make a story, create a narrative, set the environment, set up the person, and then catch them. Use the fake news to put pressure on them. Can't do that with Trump. So you had Robert Mueller and the Robert Steele dossier, all a load of lies. Donald Trump then wins the election. And then you start seeing that they're trying to figure out all these different ways of taking him out. At the same time, they released the emails from Hillary Clinton's server, the WikiLeaks emails. And James Comey initially was the main guy on both of the investigations. And he said there's no evidence in this Hillary Clinton case. However, he was going full steam ahead with Trump's case. So he caught himself in a bit of a situation. And 11 days before the election day for voting, he reopened the case and he made this sub story up. But at this point, if you go back and watch my last one on James Comey, for me, that was all a military operation by that point, taken over, because this is treason at the highest levels. So you continue playing this narrative with these people. And all of this now is a movie allowing us to look back and go, whoa, this was really bad. The John Brennan was the gap, and he was the one that authorized a lot of access when people were traveling. He would skip security commands. He would then get surveillance on people illegally. He would be the one that approved it all. He also then has the links with Ukraine. Ukraine then brings in Lindsey Graham, who's the senator that had the 50 names to investigate, including all the ones that I'm talking about. So all these people have just been waiting, and it's just been holding on now. And it's all controlled by the white hats, the good guys. When we say white hats, it's the good guys. It just needs to get to a point now, because we understand it, we can see it all. It's all then just going to start dropping like House of Cards. The House of Cards is falling. It's coming crumbling down. So I'm going to just quickly take you through those few things, because this is what we're seeing now. John Brennan, James Comey, you hear it a lot. James Clapper. It was treason. That's death penalty. Selling out America. Selling out the people. Like it's sick when we see it all. So just go on to the Q posts, and I'll just flick through a certain few things now, because where we are is quite easy to answer all the questions. So I just flick through a few. At Snowden, who they're just hiding because he infiltrated the NSA, and he could have, with that information, destroyed everything, because the NSA spies on everyone. If it's an investigation, they're spying on it. So it could have ruined a lot of things. And this is why it is at the highest of levels. So what happens when Russia gives you up? Will the CIA protect you? Sleep is important. So knowing that people would be watching this as the enemies, they put a bit of threats, and you can see certain posts are talking to them directly. But just to skip through a few, just to show you that all these people were fired when Trump first come in. So today's name I put Clapper. And there's a few posts. Again, this will all just link with everything else that we've been going through. The treachery revealed by Comey, Clapper, and Brennan requires accountability. That can only happen through a federal grand jury investigation headed by John H. Hoover. The U.S. attorney in Utah has been appointed to investigate the Pfizer criminality by the Obama, FBI, and DOJ. So that's the James Comey clan. So Hoover has been investigating this for a long time. You've heard John Durham a few times. He's come into the picture, come back out again. The last times he was doing the court case, you saw that when they were spying on Trump, Hillary Clinton's foundation had funded it, and they paid a company called Fusion GPS. So that's all on record now. They were spying on Trump before the elections, just in case Trump did win, then to have dirt on them. So declass of Pfizer. Pfizer is this investigation, which is like the highest federal investigations that need to be signed off by a judge. And to take it to the judge, it have to be every bit of proof that you can have in there to warrant the sign off, because it's that serious. They always do get signed off because they are that serious. They had no evidence. So there's certain names you're going to hear. So Pfizer will initiate the resignation, recusal, and or remove of Rod Rosenstein. You'll hear that name quite a lot. He signed it and approved it. Declassifier will initiate the awareness that all signers will be under investigation. All the people that signed it. Declassifier will factually demonstrate without argument the US government under Hussein Obama knowingly presented false evidence to the FISC in an effort to obtain legal US intelligence umbrella surveillance of the president for the sole purpose of influencing the 2016 election of the presidency. Not Russia, Obama, and Hillary Clinton. They were projecting. Plus, a safeguard against the possible loss of power was the firewall's use of back channel surveillance and spy insertion. So they went through and started spying on Trump, but they had to go around the American laws. To do that, they used the intelligence of the UK and Australia, Five Eyes, to warrant the approval and to do the investigation into Trump before the election. So it's foreign interference. Activated under Brennan, DIR Clapper, with PDB regular updates, live streaming. The White House Hussein non-oval situation room in coordination. Pfizer brings down the full house of the White House. Q. So all these people knew about it. Obama had signed it off. They've all approved it all. They were watching it all. They're in coordination with each other. So look, read RE Five Eyes. Avoid US data collection laws. Obama. Public dossier. Pfizer. Not public. Five Eyes. UK. Australian. President Trump targeting used pushed Russia decoy meetings and campaign insertions. Obama, Hillary Clinton, Loretta Lynch, Brennan, Clapper, the National Security, the White House, SIT, RM, OP, UK, and Australia assist the setup. This is big because it's all the countries involved. It brings the UK in together. And at the bottom here, this is where you start seeing all the names. Look, what if the UK government worked hand in hand with Obama administration to sabotage the 2016 election? Data collection, voice, video, bugging. Creation of fake intel dossier using ex-spy. So that's Robert Steele. Co-sponsor the insurance policy regarding POTUS election. So these are the names: Peter Stoitz, Lisa Page, no name John McCain, Clapper, Brennan, Rice, Loretta Lynch, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Obama plus 22. What if Intel masked penetrations to frame Russia, crack CrowdStrike servers? Susan Rice, then Julian Assange. Why does the UK government desperately want Julian Assange? Think source files, the more you know. Because he has evidence in all of them. And he's now in his court case at the moment again. So this then brings in the Gina Haspel, who was the intelligence officer for MI6. And then Donald Trump installed her for the CIA. So same name, same people. That all then failed, which then meant that they needed something else to get Trump out. So Trump was then building his legacy as president, doing all these things. You could see stuff happening around the world, ending terror, clamp down on human trafficking, building the wall. Like the momentum was big. Then he's getting all these deals, putting all these sanctions on, and people are waking up. And they've realized there's not really much they can do now, but they have to just keep going after him, keep trying to build cases for him. So in January of 2020, which is literally just as the COVID pandemic hit, they realized that all the Robert Mueller and everything else didn't work. So they were talking and suggesting they were going to impeach him with negotiating Ukraine and tampering with the upcoming election in 2020. So they were trying to get ahead of the narrative or they were cheating, as in Donald Trump with Russia. So the impeachment was being waited to be released. It got sent to the Senate and they held it for a reason, because they also saw Donald Trump was just about to pull off, or he did pull off, the biggest trade deal with China. meaning China had to spend $200 billion every year on US goods, which was massive. Donald Trump, with all these accomplishments, they were waiting for this deal, and then they released the impeachment one that he was involved with tampering with the 2020 upcoming election. We know that they were doing it. So again, he countered moved that. So impeachment one was on January the 15th, the same day Donald Trump did that deal. 5 days later, COVID goes first case. They push COVID as a desperation to keep people locked down, keep people in fear, push the deaths, push the cases, push the failure on Trump. The world's falling to pieces. The economy's shut down. They was going to use all that devastation to then create narrative, and also knowing that that China deal wouldn't have been able to go ahead because China didn't like that deal. They worked with this administration to try to take him down. They were desperate. Trump's caught them all. This is crimes against humanity at the highest level. James Comey is getting involved with the trying to prosecute Trump in any way he can. It all failed. So impeachment one failed, didn't even last long at all. They were holding on that for a long time. And then they tried to get him for impeachment two. But they was expecting Donald Trump to win 2020. They was expecting Donald Trump to go to the January the 6th complaining that we've been cheated on. So they had a plan in mind, right, we're going to impeach him. Didn't realize that Trump then wouldn't be president. And then all of a sudden, they've had to change the rules because you can't impeach a former president, which opens up the door for precedent for Trump to be able to do that back to all of them. This is what we're going to see next. So the world have to be shown these people the evil stuff that they've done, the way that they went by all means necessary to get Trump out, even created COVID, the pandemic, and it exposed everything else too. Remember, none of the plans would have been then. They were desperate. They were anything that sounded good, anything that had any hope for them, they would have snapped it up. So this is a big, big spiritual battle from an energetic standpoint, from people that know this realm that we live on, that we are God's creation. And these people can't get into that God space because they walk around with fear. They walk around doing wrong, knowingly, working together. So they stop everyone else finding God. That's the distraction. So all families, all mafia, all generational crime, every crime syndicate, every drug dealer, everything is being linked, and it's now monitored, and it's all about to explode because I'll do one more. I've waffled on a bit on that one, but just to highlight, we're very close now. So Pfizer comes after the two things I was just talking about. So if I do Pfizer. So what happens when blackmail no longer works? Do you become a liability? So crime works by blackmail. People have dirt on each other, but the people that have someone else's dirt are not in the picture anymore. So it completely rules them out, or they've been dealt with already. So all of a sudden things start breaking down. People will turn on each other. Just because the public is unaware of something does not mean nothing is happening. Mueller hearing a tactic meant to delay the horror. The Mueller hearing is a tactic meant to delay the Horowitz report. The Horowitz report release necessary prior to the Comey release. The Horowitz plus the Comey equals D-class. D-class equals the start of the mass awakening. The White House, the ABCs, the state, the foreign. Most D's come many I's. When blackmail no longer holds due to loss of a senior, level key government positions, and 11th hour testimony, those previously protected become prey. Hunters become the hunted. God wins. So the Horowitz report was the person that they investigated then into the fact that they did spy on Trump. And he come back with the conclusion that there was no means necessary for the FBI not to, based on the evidence. So optics putting the FBI still in a position to do their work. However, the way that it was conducted and the way that fires is reported and the way that communication and the means to Take Trump out, there was nothing, no granted there at all. So they had pressure on them straight away from the Horowitz report. The Comey report would be next, was the ones to focus on the Hillary Clinton emails, which Comey also then brought in Robert Mueller to do the investigation. All of a sudden, those same people, all now fired, all now linked with all these other crimes, all now caught lying, the world are going to see, whoa, that opens up the door for everything else. So after those two, which is what we're seeing in the news now, it says D-class, the start of the mass awakening. That's when the real corruption starts falling into place for us. And it will be quick. A lot of this is just now going to be put in front of us, allowing us just to see how deep and dark it actually really went. So the start of the mass awakening means that we're very, very close. So continue looking at these names. Continue to go back and watch the videos on James Clapper. Watch what Donald Trump says about them. What Donald Trump says about the CIA. Watch how James Comey lies in being interviewed in Congress. Watch the people interviewing him. You can see they're all involved with this corruption, and they have to be careful the way they play it because it exposes them regardless. So it's all squeezing them to a point now where they actually have nowhere else to hide, and everyone else is more informed, and everyone's seeing that these people are all connected. These people don't have our interest at all, and we're at that point right at the top. Just by being aware of it, it falls tippy top, and that is then our energy to keep pushing our light onto the darkness. There's nowhere to hide. It's just light going to be shining through. That is the truth. So be ready for a bit of a roller coaster, because our loved ones, the ones that are asleep, they're not waking up. Those ones, they'll be fine. It's going to be tough for them. The hardest thing for all of us, if you're good people, and if you're unaware that we're in a war, if you're unaware that we are effectively prisoners, just it's a lot bigger than what we can see it. It's all been planned for us. When you start seeing that we've still managed to get out of this, then you can start accepting everything else. So it's show the worst on the outside, which mirrors down to everything in our life. And by the fact it's now on the TV, it means it's at the highest point. Julian Assange, we're seeing his name mentioned a lot now. His information brings down a lot of this crime anyway. All the money laundering, all the corruption, all the trafficking, everything. And then you got the last part of their desperation is the Edward Snowden, which is even higher levels of crime because of NSA and the importance of that. And then it opens up the door to the Clinton Foundation. That then takes us back to around 2009 and that period, especially when we look at Haiti and the Clinton Foundation initiatives around the world. Like, this is where it gets really sick. And this is why the military stepped in a long time ago. It's just it was so sick back then, people would be in hospital if they heard about it. People would be in such denial. It wouldn't even be a thought or imagination. You're just, conspiracy theorist. Now it's completely knowable, and it's completely easier to accept and grasp. So enjoy it. There's a lot of people panicking right now. There's a lot of people turning on each other. There's a lot of people getting angry. If you just watch it like a movie, if you just know that we're now just being shown the worst of the worst, which means the celebration will be around the corner, the excitement of all these exposing, linking it up, then going, oh my God, they're good. Wow, look how bad that was. Look how evil that was. Look how clever that was. Wow, that was in my vicinity. That was on my doorstep. That's going to be the hardest one to take. It's a war, though. And the war this time is through energy, through contracts, through the word. And we've tricked ourselves and been tricked into giving our power over. So that all changes when we have awareness of it. So it's exciting. And as always, just to say thank you for everyone that does leave comments. Thank you for people that have joined on the membership as a sole supporter. I really appreciate your support. And next week, pay attention to South Carolina. This is where Trump will confirm that he's completely favourite for the Republicans, that even in Nikki Haley's own state, that he's going to dominate that one, and it will get people paying attention. That's when we'll start seeing the next phase of more eyes on Joe Biden. Who else may come in? We have a good idea. And then after that, we'll start seeing the truth about a lot more things, which a lot of people have attachments to. So there's a lot happening. Keep your eyes open and take some time out for yourself each day. Check out the meditations. That is a portal to God. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. Right, people, we're at that time where we're starting to see the highest levels of corruption. We're getting taken back to just before Trump come in as president, and when they illegally managed to get a Pfizer application approved to spy on Trump. The new president come in to spy on him. All these people lied. And if you look at the Q posts, it says order of events, the IG report, which is the Inspector General, that's H, Horowitz. Then the Comey report, which is James Comey, the big fraud, the big liar. And then C plus H equals Pfizer D-class. D-class, the start of the mass awakening. It's declassification, it's the indictments, public arrests. So you've got the IG report, which is Horowitz. We're being shown that now. You got James Comey report. And then you're going to start seeing the lies about COVID to the same people. They got desperate, they were panicking. Start of the mass awakening, people.
Career bureaucrats who have been installed by what we call the deep state into every agency and department in the United States government.
What do you think of the way that the intelligence community handled the so-called Russia dossier? And overall, how do you think of the way they've handled Donald Trump?
I've lived in this world for 45 years where you get things and people make allegations. That is a garbage document.
Did you find direct evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Putin in Moscow while you were there?
I never was an FBI agent, I never was a prosecutor, so I really don't do evidence, I do intelligence.
Do you agree with Mr. Horowitz that the dossier was central and essential to the Carter Page FISA warrant application being approved?
I agree that it was important. I can't tell you whether it was essential, and by that I mean that it wouldn't have been granted without this deal information.
I can say, without any reservation, I never intentionally misled anyone in the Inspector General's office, in the FBI, and certainly not ever a director of the FBI.
As our conversation continued, the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, or DAG, proposed that he could potentially wear a recording device into the Oval Office to collect additional evidence on the president's true intentions.
Quoting you now, the FBI uses all tools available at its disposal to combat domestic terrorism, which now apparently includes the crime of being Catholic.
Let's turn to your outrageous directive sicking the feds on parents at school boards across America.
This needs to go to the FBI if there is any concern here that one candidate or the election as a whole might be influenced by the Russian Federation. That's something for the FBI to investigate.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly.
And I want to understand white rage, and I'm white, and I want to understand it.
It's hard to imagine two FBI agents ending up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them.